And welcome to the program. It is the Limelight and my name is Simapolo. Now, innovation capabilities of any country dictate the growth dynamics of that particular country. The rapid advances in science discovery and general purpose technologies like ICT and other issues are the key reasons why developed countries like the US, China and all other countries are superpowers they are. But what are developing countries like Uganda doing about it? Do we still have a chance to compete with those developed countries at the global stage of innovations? What went wrong and what can we do? We will contact our expert this evening to answer those questions. I'll cross over to Monica Kasirie, and she is the Chief Operations Officer, Innovation Village, few innovation hubs in Uganda. Hello, good evening and welcome to the program. Madam Monica, you're on Soul TV and we would want to hear from you, talk about innovations. And first of all, I would want you to describe the innovation potential Ugandans have.
Good evening, viewers, and thank you for your introduction. My name is Monica Kasirie Kavuma, and my task is very simple. But first, I would like to share what innovation is. What is innovation? So, innovation is really making improvements on a service, on a product, or a process. So the landscape of innovation is really primed on the premise of the challenges we have and people striving to solve those challenges in their communities. So in terms of the innovation landscape in Uganda, yes, it's thriving. And it's thriving because we have so many problems, and that is the opportunity to see innovation thrive. Because we have problems, we have challenges, and all the youths around are striving to see that we solve our most pressing needs that we face in our communities. Thank you.
So, Monica, I asked you to tell us about the potential, the capabilities in Ugandans to innovate at global level.
Okay. The potential is actually very, very huge. And one thing I would like to say is that all along people are innovating. But challenges like COVID-19 have put innovation on a pedestal. Why? Because we are hard-pressed to solve our problems, and that's when you see people innovating around the most hit sectors like health. We've seen many innovations coming up in the way we distribute health solutions to the last mile, because not everyone can go to hospitals. So we've seen Rocket Health, for example, being very big on ensuring that everyone can access health services simply by using the phone. The phone has become the biggest tool in innovation among the youth, because most people have phones, and thanks to the advancement of the telecom sector, and innovations are riding on that technology. I'll give another example, like in tourism. Tourism has been most hit in this COVID-19. And again, you're seeing people who are turning their homes into space for local tourists. We've seen startups like Tubayo that said, you know what, we can no longer rely on foreign tourists. Let us turn our homes, our spaces into tourists, and then we can engage our local population to enjoy the local environment. So in terms of the potential, it's really, really huge. And even in education, teachers have been out of school for many years, but we've seen quite a number of innovations trying to keep our children in school. Of course, the digital divide is real. So as we see the potential of our children to study even with COVID, it's very important for us to acknowledge the fact that the most vulnerable people get solutions delivered to them so that no one is left behind. And that is where innovation spaces like the Innovation Village come into play, so that we can be able to put, to avail these services to startups or innovators, and they can be able to provide these services at scale. So the potential is really, really huge.
The potential is huge, Monica, you say. Let's talk about, of course, we've seen innovations like Killer EV. We've seen innovations like COVIDX. Are those the innovations you're talking about? And where is government in these innovations?
Yeah, so yes, what government has done actually is provide an enabling environment. Over the years, we've seen institutions like Enterprise Uganda, which is bringing up entrepreneurship. Then we've seen an advancement of many innovation spaces, so many, Outbox, HiColab, the Innovation Village, which are really there because of the good government interventions to create a space for innovators to showcase their ideas. And these spaces really are to harness that innovation and ensure that the innovations don't die at the local stage, at an initial stage, but that they can mature and hit their milestones. So yes, you talk about COVIDX, you talk about, I believe these things we've been doing in our homes, people are doing them in their communities, and it's government has also come out to validate some of these, because they are there. We cannot always rely on outside economies or the developed economies, because we know the things that appeal to us and the things that can solve our problems. We're the people who can actually solve the problems that we have. So yes, government is in there, and what we have to do is to enhance and embrace the environment that government has put forward for us to, enhance innovation and take advantage of the landscape.
Good that government is helping develop innovations. That sounds good. But let's talk about innovations that can compete at global stage. We know that we may not compete with these developed countries, especially if we are looking at, for instance, the side of robotics. We may not compete with China and Japan and all others. Where is our leverage as a country? Is it in medicine? Is it in ICT? Where do you see our leverage in innovations?
Oh yes, thanks for asking that question. I think innovation, if you look at our economy, we already pride ourselves in, having a big percentage of our people playing in agriculture. So our leverage is going to be on using technology-enabled innovations to reach everyone where they're at and be able to make the most of what we have, make the most of our resources, and meet everyone at their point of need. You talk about the US and Europe, but let me tell you something. All those countries are coming to fight for the cake in Africa. Africa is the market, and we know what our problems are. So when you look at homegrown solutions, it's a testament that we know what the problem is, and the market is actually in Africa. We don't need Europe and America to come and solve for us our problems. I'll give you an example. When COVID came and the supply chain was cut from China, many companies that were importing could not access products in China. So that created an opportunity to see what can we actually do. The government has been putting forward policies like Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, and these have been competing with the international market. But when push comes to shove, we have institutions, local grown institutions that are actually making a difference and leveraging on the resources that we have. The resources meaning raw materials, the people. We have many people who are creative. And I'll give an example. We have Motive, one of our companies in the Innovation Village ecosystem, that is here to speak to the person who makes with their hands. People who are creative, the singers, the makers of crafts. The market is here, and that's why everyone is coming to Africa. So COVID showed us that we can actually do import substitution and not rely on Europe or America, because the market is here and everyone is coming to fight for a peace. So the time is now, and we need to work with government, we need to work with all institutions to harness the gold that we have. Thank you.
All right, let's talk about government intervention again. I'm aware that there is an innovation fund an allocation that has been coming out in the national budget for subsequent years. I would wish to know if that fund has been beneficial to innovators, especially those startups in this country.
Okay, so that's a very interesting question. But when I want to refer to the budget that has just been read, to the best of my knowledge, I know that the government has put out 134 billion to the ICT sector, and it's really to spur innovation. And I think it's because of the many homegrown solutions that have come up. Government also knows that if it's going to improve the public sector, we need to leverage on the local innovations because we know the problems. So yes, the fact that the vote for innovation to the Ministry of ICT has been increased is testament enough that government is on board with ensuring homegrown solutions take a bigger pie of the national cake. So that's good. Now the onus is on us, the players in the sector, to work with the government, to work with the innovators, and make the best use of these resources, because no one is going to come to you when your hands are folded. So yes, we're working with the government institutions, Uganda Investment Authority, Private Sector Foundation, Uganda Small Scale Industries. All these are players that are really out there to harness the very creative potential of Ugandans, yeah, people who are making things, because again we know that any economy thrives on production. So we are happy to collaborate, and we are open to to showcasing the innovators we have in our ecosystem, so that we can bring an end to this problem. We have many problems, and those are the many challenges we have to deal with. So thank you.
Okay, now let's talk about how the innovators have managed to get to where they are. For instance, COVIDX, the professor who worked on that project together with Mbarara University, I am aware there is a foreign hand in that project. There is part of a donation that is involved in that particular innovation. Are there some innovations that are sensitive that do not need such a partnerships or collaborations? What can you say about it? Isn't it risky to have such a sensitive innovation in collaboration with some people outside?
Thanks for that question. So that's an interesting one again. And I think innovation is risky in its own sense. Any entrepreneur out there who is bold enough to leave their comfort zone and start something that is unknown is taking a huge risk. So taking huge risks really involve looking for the right partnership to help you take off from the ground. You cannot walk that journey alone. We've seen many people who try to walk the journey alone. They really don't make it anywhere. So many innovators look to people who provide seed funding if they're there. But remember, there are so many innovators and a limited resource envelope for the seed farming. So people will go out to look for really whoever buys into their idea. So if it's a foreigner, if it's a partner, if it's a relative, if it's government, it's what is the right partnership for that particular innovation. And even if it's a foreigner, I think we have playbooks in the health sector, for example, now that you make reference to COVIDX, where everything that goes out on the market has to be verified and it has to comply with certain standards. So that's the framework that is there to guide how all these innovations go to market. We cannot stifle innovation, but we have to create a framework that kind of ensures that public interests are protected, the country interests are protected. And I think we need to trust that process, that it's there for generations to come. But innovators have to keep innovating and see how they can be able to fit in that framework.
Right, let's talk about the patent. How is it in this country if I develop an innovation, the patent rights and the patent law, how is it and how can my innovation be really safe? Can it be protected?
Yes, there's a provision for that. Again, I would like to call upon all innovators to take advantage of their patent rights. There's a provision for that, and if you register your patent, then you're protected by the law. It's just that we have so many innovators who, again, want to go it alone. They want to go it alone, and just because someone else is thinking about the same idea and they beat you at your game, then you think that they've stolen your idea. So my call really that I urge innovators to take advantage of ecosystems like the Innovation Village, to come in and we guide the process. Yeah, how do you protect your patent? How do you register your business? How do you protect your interests? So all those are things which we do, and we need to take advantage of the ecosystems that are around to nurture all the different entrepreneurs and startups. If you go it alone, it's very easy for you to fall into pitfalls like, people stealing your ideas or con men or things like that. So yes, the law is there and we should take advantage of it.
Hear from you the opportunities available at this point, because there are very many sectors. There is ICT, there is medicine, there are very many sectors. Where are the opportunities for innovators at this time?
Well, I'll throw it back to you and say, where are the problems that we have in our communities? Because for me, the bigger the problems, the more the opportunities. So now we've seen problems in education. Children are not in school. That is an opportunity for innovators. That is an opportunity to partner with government and introduce new ways of teaching our children and making them ready for employment. That's an opportunity. Talk about the health sector. Right now it's on its knees. We're all locked up in our homes because we have this epidemic. But therein lies the opportunity. Yeah? So talk about the tourism sector. Yes, again, we've been relying on people coming in to tour this country and give us revenue. Therein, again, lies the opportunity. So the opportunities are as immense as the problems that we have. That is my comment on that. And we've seen right now, I'll give an example. We've seen so many people who have products, who are doing things in their homes, but they cannot go out to the market to sell them because everyone is locked up. So we have platforms, yeah? We have platforms that have come up because of this to offer opportunities for sellers and buyers to meet and get what we want. At the Innovation Village, we have a platform called Omoleso, omoleso.africa. That is where you find homegrown innovators, homegrown entrepreneurs showcasing their products. And all you need to do is to log in and see what you want and buy. There you are supporting local makers and and spurring innovation, local innovation. So that the opportunities are really immense.
Really immense. And before I let you go, Madam Monica, I would want to hear from you what you think is the biggest innovation this country has ever registered that can compete at a global scale, because we can talk about America and Russia coming up with an atomic bomb in World War II. We can talk about other countries doing this and this. Others are actually going to Mars. What is that innovation do you think Ugandans can take pride in?
So there are actually a number of innovations that Ugandans can take pride in all sectors. Yeah, we've all seen the evolution of the mobile phone. We did not invent the mobile phone, but there are things that have been done that have questioned the traditional way of moving money, of making payments, of transacting, of driving the economy. So that may not have been a Ugandan innovation, but that was an African innovation. And all countries are now trying to come and do case studies. How did these people do it? Yeah. So I can't point to one great innovation, but I can say that we have quite a number of innovations to look up to. Yeah, mobile money and the way it has transcended and the way it facilitates transactions and the business and the economy is a revolutionary innovation. We have, I can go on and on, but I think all sectors, again, it's a journey. We've not reached the levels of America or Europe, but yes, we have made leaps and bounds, and I'm sure you're also using some of these innovations in your space.
Monica, is Kayola bus one of those innovations? Is Kayola bus, the bus that is made in Uganda, is it one of those innovations that you can take pride in?
Well, if it's made in Uganda and it's doing what it's supposed to do, yes. And are there ways we can improve it? Of course they are. So by mere fact that you have highlighted it, that means it's remarkable, and we need to take it to the next level so that we can now start assembling our buses from here. It's happening in Rwanda, it can happen here. Yeah, okay? So I think it's step by step, and it's also where are our priorities? Where are we bleeding the most? Where do we need help as a country? That is where we should be focusing our energies so that we can spur innovation there, and then we can create a ripple effect in other sectors.
Madam Monica, I must thank you for your time and for that insightful discussion this evening.
Thank you too. Thanks for the opportunity, and good evening, viewers.
Our viewers, she is Monica. Yes, she is Monica Kasirye Kavuma, the Chief Operations Officer at Innovation Village, one of Uganda's few innovation hubs. And we have been speaking about innovations in this country. My name is Simapolo. Let's go home, and we'll be back next Friday.